Hybrid meeting rules.
Sure. Welcome to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting in Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for purpose of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request roll call vote, please push the person button on your microphone or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphone turned on when they are recognized to speak. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you are finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak. Those appearing virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, approach one of the two podiums on either side of the dais, and you'll be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thanks. Chair, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Jim. So I've got two disclaimers going into this meeting. The first is that I am getting over being sick and I'm still a little fuzzy-headed. And the other is that this is the City of Madison's first attempt at a meeting where the chair is not physically in the room when it's a hybrid meeting. So anything about tonight that goes smoothly is because of the efforts of Deputy City Clerk Jim Verbeek, and anything that is at all rocky is my fault.
I'll share praise with Sherry and the media team as well.
By all means, the media team is so great that you don't even notice what a good job they're doing because, man, this is hard. All right. Applications that we review at tonight's meeting will go to the Common Council meeting on June 6th. This meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order. All speakers wishing to address the committee regarding an agenda item must first complete a registration form and submit it to the city clerk designee. Speakers may speak to the committee only after they're called by the chair, or in this case, by the deputy city clerk, who's going to be managing the queue for people to speak, because I can't effectively do that remotely. Each speaker is going to be limited to 3 minutes. After speaking, please take your seat. The public is not allowed to address or respond to speakers or committee members unless they've been recognized by the chair or clerk designee. I call this meeting available. Oh, do we have any notified absences?
Dr. Reese, Alder Knox, and Captain Hansen are all notified absent.
Thank you. Call this meeting of ALRC to order at 5:37 p.m. Mr. Verbeek, please call the roll.
Alder Miadzi?
Present.
Alder Miadzi is here. Alder Revere?
Here.
Alder Revere is here. Mr. Baruchuk? Here. Mr. Baruchuk is here. Ms. Farley?
Present.
Farley is here. Mr. Donnelly?
Present.
Donnelly is here. Ms. Westrom?
Here.
Westrom's here. Chair, we have quorum.
Excellent. First order of business, approval of minutes of our meeting from April 19th. Wait, do we have it? Oh, April 19th, not May 3rd. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move approval.
Second.
Here, a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, motion carries. Minutes from April 19th are approved. Jim, are there any registrants for general public comment?
We do not have any registrants for general public comment.
All right, disclosures and recusals. Members of the body should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code. Do we have any? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair Donnelly. I wish to recuse myself from the entertainment license renewal, agenda item number 37, and the liquor license renewal, agenda item number 49, for the Madison Elks Lodge, as I am a member of their board of directors.
Excellent. Any others?
Just those two. Thank you.
I will recuse myself from the same items for the Bartell Community Theater Foundation because I'm a member of their board. Any other disclosures or recusals? All right. Consent agenda. Take it away, Jim.
All right, the proposed consent agenda for ALRC agenda meeting on May 24th, 2023. Recommend a council to grant temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permits, items 3 and 5 and 6. Change of agents, items 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Business name change, item 22. Entity reorganization, items 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Recommend to extend license issuance beyond 180-day limit under MGO 38.05. Items 33 and 34. Recommend the council to place on file item number 9, change of agent, referral to next meeting at ALRC, change of agent, item 15, change of premises, number 32, and recommend the council to re-refer to the next meeting at ALRC, public hearing new license, items 43 and 48.
All right. Any items anybody would like separated from the consent agenda? Ms. Westra?
No separations. Just curious why number 4 wasn't on there.
So number 4 is it was not on there because it had special consideration of the council, so they did not get their application in a timely manner to consider in our normal timeline, where we go before the ALRC first and the Common Council next. That is because their event occurs this coming weekend, and it would have been referred to the June meeting of the Common Council. So it had instead been taken up by the council last week, Tuesday, and they decided to motion to grant with the condition that they get the ALRC's approval. So it's kind of worked its way backwards in the fact that council has taken the first action and ALRC has the final say in whether or not this temporary license is granted or not.
Okay.
Jennifer, I saw your video come on. Do you have anything you would like separated?
No, but just so you know, my laptop is blinking on and off. So my screen goes black and then, oh, now it's all wacky. So I'm having technical issues.
Okay, sounds good. If there's anything where you need us to shuffle around or something, let us know.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other separations from the consent agenda? All right. Doesn't look like any committee. What's your pleasure?
Move approval.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second from Alder Miadzi. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Consent agenda is adopted as proposed. Jim, can you please explain what that means?
Sure. So the consent agenda that has just been passed is for the ALRC meeting May 24th, 2023. Recommended council to grant Item number 3, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, Madison Museum of Contemporary Arts. Event location around the Capitol Square and State Street. Event dates July 8th and 9th of this year. Event is Art Fair in the Square. Item number 5, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, Gay Straight Alliance for Safe Schools, Inc. Event location 100 block King Street. Event dates August 12th of this year. Event Wolf's Pride. Item number 6, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, Gay Straight Alliance for Safe Schools, Inc. Event location 100 block King Street. Event date September 16th, 2023. Event is Oktoberfest. Item number 7, change of agent, Bartaco Hilldale LLC. Item number 8, change of agent, Wisconsin Apple LLC. Item number 10, change of agent, Hy-Vee Inc., 7475 Mineral Point Road. Item number 11, change of agent, Hy-Vee at 3801 East Washington Avenue. Item number 12, change of agent, Hy-Vee Inc., 675 Whitney Way. Item number 13, change of agent, Shake Shack, Wisconsin LLC. Item number 14, change of agent, AC Madison Hospitality LLC. Item number 16, change of agent, Hogan's Food Liner Inc. Item number 17, change of agent, Speedway LLC. Number 18, change of agent, Madison Hospitality Partnership LLC. Item number 19, change of agent, VFW Post number 7591. Number 20, change of agent, Walmart Stores East LP. 21, change of agent, Quick Trip Inc. 22, business name change, SPS Self Service Inc. Current DBA, Sitco Mart. New DBA, Amico Mart. 23, entity reorganization, Bartaco Hilldale LLC. 24, entity reorganization, Famous Dave's Ribs Inc. 25, entity reorganization, Shake Shack Wisconsin LLC. 26, entity reorganization, Red Lobster Hospitality LLC. 27, entity reorganization, Speedway LLC. 28, entity reorganization, Graduate Madison Lessee LLC. Now 29, entity reorganization, Madison Association of the Deaf. 30, change entity reorganization, Nakoma Golf Club. 31, entity reorganization, the Madison Club Inc. 33, request to extend license issuance beyond 180-day limit under MGO 38.05, Tacos and Tequila LLC. 34, request to extend license issuance beyond 180-day limit under MGO 38.05, Hayes Place LLC. Recommended council to place on file item number 9, change of agent, the Cheesecake Factory Restaurants, Inc. This is a duplicate from last month's agenda. Referral to the next meeting of the LRC. Item number 15, change of agent, Central Florida Restaurants, Inc. Number 32, change of premises, 2116 AWA LLC. Referral for time for a neighborhood meeting. And recommended council to re-refer to the next meeting of the LRC. Item number 43, public hearing new license, 7-Eleven Inc. And item 48, public hearing new license, K Peppers Inc. And these are both supposed to be on next month's agenda, but we're administrative error put them on this month.
Whew. All right. So if your item is one of the ones that Jim just read off, it has been disposed of and you can go about your evening. Jim, what is next on the agenda?
We have 2 items that need interpretation. We have one that needs, actually technically we have 3 items for 2 applicants that need Spanish interpretation. That is items 35 and 38 for Serato Entertainment, Inc. I was told by the interpreter that he did call that applicant, and they stated that they are no longer interested in pursuing the agenda. I do not see them on the registered attendees list, and as you recall, they've been to 2 prior meetings in which we've referred this. And then after that, item 36, La Pollera Colombiana LLC for an entertainment license, needs a Spanish interpreter. And lastly, item 41, C&W Restaurant of Madison LLC, needs a Mandarin interpreter. And And that is it.
All right. What are we going to start with?
You want to dispense of the one to place on file?
Yes, please.
Fine. What Ms. Westro said. What number is that?
It's 35 and 38. It's an entertainment and a new alcohol license.
I
All
moved.
right. So go for it.
Okay, sorry.
Don't be sorry. You're great.
I moved to place item 35 and 38 on file without prejudice.
All right. Alder Miazzi, is that a second?
Yep, second.
All right. We have motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Well,
Any
Mr.
dissent?
Barashuk has his hand up.
All right. Go for it.
Thank you. I have a quick question for Madison Police Department. Anyone here?
Fortunately, nobody's here today from the police department.
Okay. The question I was going to ask was, in the letter from Alder Bennett, it says, MPD told them that this is a nightclub and the community doesn't want another nightclub. And that reflects what Alder Bennett told me in a conversation as well. So my concern was that the Madison Police Department is speaking on behalf of the community and potentially causing this applicant to believe that the decision has been made. I would hate that if the applicant backed out based on the notion that, based on the belief that the community, whatever that shall mean, has decided they don't want a nightclub. I wouldn't take one department, the police department's word for that, if I were the applicant. I wanted to ask the police if that is an indeed accurate representation of the conversation that occurred. But since they're not here, I'll support the motion to refer.
Mr. Barashuk, it's not a motion to refer, it's a motion to place on file without prejudice. Does that change your support?
Understood. Yes, that's fine with me.
Okay.
I will add
any further?
If I could, so I will add that there's an email from Captain Hansen that this was brought up to me and him by Alder Bennett. And he did say to us that he has never had direct communication with the owners. And he does not know who else may have talked to them from MPD. But yeah, if that provides any more context.
Cool. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, is there any dissent to the motion to place items 35 and 38 on file without prejudice? Hearing none, motion carries. What's up next, Jim?
Item 36, 21 plus entertainment license, La Pollera Colombiana LLC. And the registrant is here, Yaneth Herrera. And the interpreter is also here. And I can begin by swearing the interpreter. So Julio, if you'd raise your right hand, do you affirm you'll accurately interpret Spanish to English and English to Spanish?
I do.
Excellent, thank you.
Excellent. So it looks like we've got a registrant here. Yaneth, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed establishment?
Sí, Ginette, si puede presentarse y hablarnos un poco de lo que pretende hacer con el establecimiento que propone.
Okay, yo soy Gina Herrera, soy uno de los dueños del restaurante colombiano. La idea de la licencia es para poder tener DJ en vivo alrededor de 2 veces al mes, serían los viernes. Es más que nada como para ambientar la noche, alrededor de 9 de la noche a 2 de la mañana. Igual se va a seguir sirviendo el menú regular y va a seguir siendo como ambiente muy familiar.
¿Qué horas dijo? Perdón.
De 9 a 2 de la mañana.
De 9 a 2 de la mañana. Yeah, so this is I'm the owner of this Colombian restaurant, and the idea is to have a live DJ twice a month on Fridays from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. just to give it a more like a better ambience to the restaurant. And we will keep serving the regular menu and we will keep the family-oriented atmosphere.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant?
No sé qué le pasó a Rubén, pero ahí supe que lo había pegado. Un hombre debe de tener sus señales. Se trata de un eje o
Jim, can you manage the queue, please?
bueno, son las dos.
Sí, Ginette, si igual puede poner, apagar el micrófono, o sea, porque hay mucho ruido de fondo.
Okay.
Yes. Assistant City Attorney Zellaby.
Can you hear me? Because my screen's black, so I don't know what's going on again.
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Okay. Not so much a question, but just a comment that on the application for description of clothing to identify security personnel, it says black. And if this license is going to be granted, I would suggest that they have something that readily identifies security personnel as security, and a black shirt is not adequate to do that.
Uh-huh. Sí, Ginette, simplemente no es una pregunta, es más un comentario en la solicitud, en la pregunta que dice de qué manera por la ropa se va a poder identificar al personal de seguridad. La respuesta es en negro y quizás es más una recomendación, habría que buscar una ropa que fuera más fácilmente identificable. Como personal de seguridad, una camiseta negra seguramente no va a cumplir con este propósito. Si está hablando Ginette, no lo escuchamos. Tiene que activar el micrófono.
Perdón. Sí, yo que trataremos entonces de conseguir algún otro color que pueda ser más identificable. Igual va a tener el logo como tal del negocio, la camisa, entonces va a poder diferenciar también por esa otra forma.
Yeah, I will try to find another color that is more identifiable, and it will also be will be holding the logo from the restaurant.
It would be helpful if there were large block letters that said security somewhere on the shirt.
Uh-huh. Sí, sería muy recomendable que tuviera letras grandes en negro sobre la camiseta que dijera security, seguridad.
Claro que sí.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. And if I can, I would just, if she is proposing a live DJ 2 Fridays a month from 9 to 2 a.m., if you are going to grant this license, I would recommend that you place that as a condition on it.
Sí, yo también le recomendaría, si lo que están sugiriendo es tener un DJ en vivo 2 viernes al mes, que eso que lo pusieran como una condición de la licencia.
Ms. Westra.
Uh-huh. You're muted.
Amy, I think you're on mute.
It sounded really good the first time. Jim, what are the current licensed hours that we have from their original application that we approved, I would say a couple months ago?
Yeah, let me look that up.
Sí, Ginette, están preguntando por las horas originales de la licencia cuando se aprobó hace un par de meses. Las está buscando el presidente del comité, Michael.
The hours on the application were 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 11 p.m. close on Friday and Saturday.
Lo que dice aquí es que las horas de cierre de viernes y sábado era de las 11 de la noche y luego el horario normal los otros días de 9 de la mañana a 10 de la noche.
Sí, correcto.
Yeah, that's correct.
So what were the proposed hours again for the entertainment license? For entertainment to be happening.
Entonces, ¿cuál es la propuesta de las horas para la licencia de entretenimiento? Las horas en las que va a suceder esta parte de entretenimiento.
El DJ estaría a partir de las 9 de la noche. Solamente 2 días en el mes.
So the DJ would be there like starting at 9 p.m. Twice a month on Friday.
Till what time?
¿Hasta qué hora?
La hora sería hasta las 2 de la mañana si fuera posible.
Yeah.
Los horarios regulares hasta las 11, pero el día que fuera pues el DJ quisiéramos alargarlo hasta las 2 de la mañana si es posible. Si no, hasta la hora regular de cierre.
Yeah. So we would like the days that the DJ was present, we would like to extend the regular hours until 2 a.m. And if there is no DJ, it will be keeping the regular hours until 11 p.m.
Okay. So we cannot change the hours right now. We are not allowed to. Because that would require a different application, which would be a change of license conditions. And the reason we can't do that right now is that it needs to be publicly noticed so that people know it's going to be on the agenda ahead of time.
Sí, entonces ahora mismo no podemos cambiar, nosotros no tenemos la autoridad de cambiar los horarios, habría que hacer una nueva solicitud de un cambio en las condiciones de la licencia y la razón por la que no podemos hacerlo es porque es necesario un aviso público para que la gente tenga la oportunidad de ofrecer sus comentarios.
Okay.
Committee.
Were those hours actually conditioned, or was it just what she had on her application?
It was just the application, I believe.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Let me double check the license, but I think it's just what was on the application.
Sí. Ginette, están simplemente preguntándose si las horas de funcionamiento forman parte de las condiciones de la licencia o fueron simplemente las horas que se solicitaron con la solicitud.
Yes, there are no conditions on the license.
Gotcha. Okay.
Su licencia no tiene condiciones.
Perdón, no te escuché bien, se escuché como entrecortado.
Sí, su licencia no tiene condiciones. No hay condiciones en su licencia.
Okay.
So, committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Jim, is the queue clear?
It is clear.
Okay. Are there any other registrants for this item?
¿Alguien más se ha registrado para este asunto?
¿De parte de nosotros?
No, pero es una pregunta general, perdón. Estaba simplemente haciendo la pregunta por si había alguien en el público que quería hablar.
There are no additional registrants.
All right. Committee, what is your pleasure? Amy?
Like Ms. Wester has her hand up.
So just a general question on entertainment licenses. These go through notification, and do they require a neighborhood meeting?
We asked that they hold an informational session meeting, whether that can be a neighborhood meeting, but it's not a requirement that they have a neighborhood meeting.
Okay.
Sí, Ginette, simplemente estaban preguntando una pregunta general sobre cuál era el proceso, si era necesario hacer una notificación en la que hubiera una reunión del barrio y el funcionario de la ciudad, Jim Berbick, dijo que es necesario hacer una reunión informacional para dar información, pero que no tiene que ser una reunión de barrio.
Ok, perfecto.
Committee, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Barashek?
I move to grant.
Your motion to grant, is there a second? Do I hear a second? All right. Assistant City Attorney Brist and Mr. Baruchak. I actually went through and read this a little while ago, and I can't for the life of me remember what the answer is. So, do we actually...
Go ahead.
Do we actually need a second?
My understanding under procedures that the city follows, a second is necessary.
Okay.
The motion would fail in second.
So, motion fails due to lack of a second. Committee, what is your pleasure? Alder Miazzi.
I guess my question is, or probably this might be in order to re-refer it, given that there was no public notice of the change of license.
There is no change of license. We had confusion earlier that we thought incorrectly that there was a condition on the license restricting the hours, but there was not.
Oh, okay.
Just a second, just to clarify a little bit all that's going on. Sí, entonces Ginette, simplemente hubo una moción para aprobar su solicitud, pero nadie secundó esa moción. Entonces lo que explicó el abogado de la ciudad es que si no hay nadie que secunde la moción para alguna votación, entonces la moción queda rechazada. Entonces ahora están tratando de decidir, porque no había una condición en su licencia, entonces ¿cuál es el siguiente paso?
¿Cómo se refieren a que no había una condición en la licencia? Perdón.
Cuando hay una licencia de alcohol, a veces hay algunas licencias que tienen unas condiciones concretas para el restaurante. En su caso, el horario no tiene una condición de que ese es el horario con el que se aprueba la licencia. Es simplemente lo que era la solicitud. El horario que se aprobó es el que usted tenía en la solicitud. Just for the committee, she was asking about what the condition means, and I explained to her that it was basically that the hours that were approved were the ones that she placed in her application, and that there were no special conditions about those times that were imposed on that license.
Okay. Thank you, Julio. Amy?
This is a question for the city attorney. For restrictions for 21 plus entertainment licenses, are we able to put conditions of hours, amount of entertainment? So they want it 2 times a month on Fridays, but control it for the hours. Where my concern is this being a restaurant, then turning into a nightclub after service.
Yeah, we absolutely can do conditions like that. It is our practice generally to try to have the conditions be the same on the entertainment license and the alcohol license. That wouldn't be an option here since we aren't able to modify the alcohol license. However, the more restrictive of whichever it is will apply for the appropriate action, whether it's having entertainment or alcohol.
Sí, Ginette, la preocupación que muestran es que, como mencionó Amy Westra, es que la posibilidad de que se cambie de un restaurante y que a determinada hora se convierta en un club nocturno. Entonces, el presidente Michael estaba explicando que la cuestión es que en este momento no hay las condiciones de la licencia de alcohol y la licencia de entretenimiento, en un principio serían las mismas.
And I'm
Okay,
sorry,
so,
Steve, I just realized that I stepped on your answer.
Oh, that's quite all right. If the body wants to place conditions on this particular license, they may do so. I would suggest that you try to get agreement from the licensee that they accept the conditions the way they're proposed. But yes, you can place
Sí.
conditions on the music that's different than the license for the establishment.
Entonces, el abogado de la ciudad lo que está explicando es que el comité puede imponer unas condiciones en la licencia que sean diferentes a las de a la licencia original. Lo único que tienen que buscar es que la persona que está buscando la licencia, usted, esté de acuerdo con esas condiciones que impone el comité.
Ok, sí, eso yo sé que la angustia de muchos es que pues pase a ser un ambiente pronto pesado, pero pues como les comento, la idea es que se sigue igual vendiendo comida y se va a seguir teniendo servicio a la mesa. No quisiera así, igualmente como está el restaurante, simplemente que va a haber un DJ pues en lugar de tener la música regular en los altavoces.
Yeah. The only difference would be that we will still have like food service and table service. The only difference would be like instead of having like the music on the speakers, we would have a live DJ.
Sure. Committee, what is your pleasure?
Oh, did you need to remove that right away? You double tapped it, so you took out you want to speak? Okay.
No one else is ready.
Sure.
So I'd like to ask the applicant, are you okay with on those 2 Fridays ending the DJ live entertainment during the hours that were listed on the original application that we approved some months ago?
Sí, Gineth, es una pregunta para usted. Si estaría usted de acuerdo en que el horario del entretenimiento coincidiera con terminarlo a la misma hora que lo que tenía usted solicitado en la licencia, que serían las 11 de la noche, si recuerdo bien.
Pues la verdad es que me gustaría alargarlo un poquitico más. Como te digo, solamente serían dos veces al mes y pues también hay más establecimientos que tienen horarios largos, muchas veces más seguidos. Entonces igual solamente queremos 2 días al mes.
Yeah, I would like to extend it a little longer, and it would just be like 2 Fridays a month. And I know like there are other establishments that have extended hours of service also.
Okay, another question for the applicant. Do you anticipate many people ordering food during the hours from midnight to 2 a.m. on those 2 Fridays?
¿Piensa usted que habrá muchas personas que estén pidiendo comida entre la medianoche y las 2 de la madrugada en esos 2 viernes al mes?
La verdad sí, hemos tenido algunos customers que nos han pues, pedido que alarguemos los horarios de atención y pues sí se presta como el ambiente para poder ofrecer el servicio. Entonces, como te digo, no va a ser solamente ofrecer cerveza o es la licencia de alcohol que tenemos de momento o solo para ir a bailar o escuchar el DJ. La idea es que la gente pues vaya, como les digo, tomen asiento y ordenen su comida en la mesa. Llegado el caso que alguien quiera solamente tomar, tenemos una restricción que es máximo 4 cervezas por persona y ya está. Porque pues la idea es mantener ese ambiente familiar y pues sobre todo cuidar de que no haya algún inconveniente o que se preste para algún mal momento.
Yeah, the idea is to keep with the like a family atmosphere, and there have been clients that have asked us to if we could like extend our hours of service. The idea is that during those times we would not only be selling beer, that's the only thing that it's approved in our license, but for people to be sitting at the table or dancing, and we have a restriction of 4 beers per person because we don't want any kind of like a bad environment.
Colin, do you have more questions? And if not, committee, what is your pleasure?
Pass.
Amy? Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I'd like to move approval with the following conditions: that security personnel must be fully recognizable with large black lettering on the shirts that identify them as security personnel and employees of the establishment.
Voy a hacer una moción para aprobar con una condición de que el personal de seguridad sea reconocible perfectamente con grandes letras negras que indiquen que son seguridad y tengan el nombre del establecimiento también.
Next
Okay.
condition, Amy.
Next condition will be that live DJs be limited to 2 Fridays a month.
La otra condición es que el DJ en vivo se restrinja a 2 viernes al mes.
Next condition.
And the next condition will be that the establishment must cease operations of food and music at 11 p.m.
Y la otra
Is that what was on the original one?
I'm just thinking
Can we do that
we can definitely do that for the music.
for the
But
music?
saying to stop food.
Food,
would
yeah.
be
So the music,
weird.
yeah. So
live entertainment shall cease by 11 p.m.
yep.
Entonces, Ginette, la última restricción que propuso Amy es que el establecimiento dejara de servir comida y música a las 11 de la noche, y el presidente Michael dijo que por la licencia del entretenimiento pueden restringir lo de la música. Entonces, so the final proposal is like the establishment will cease live music at 11 p.m.
Yes.
Is that the last? Okay. Entonces, la última cosa.
No, I was going to say, if I can get a second, I can explain where I'm going. with
Okay.
this.
Before you get a second, I would recommend you strike one word and not specify what color the lettering has to be for the security shirts.
Oh, did I specify?
You said it had to be black,
Oh, yeah, no.
but I think
I was reading the
white
thing.
lettering would be fine.
Yeah. Just as long as we know they work for the establishment, it says large black letters on the or block. That was the
Okay.
word I wanted.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Do I hear a second? Or go ahead, Julio. Sorry.
Ya simplemente. Entonces, la última condición, Ginette, quedaría como que el establecimiento dejaría de tener música en vivo a las 11 de la noche. Y entonces Amy dijo que quiere tener a alguien que secunde esta moción para luego explicar cuál es el razonamiento detrás.
All right. So you've got a motion to grant with conditions. Do I hear a second? Anybody want a second?
I second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Ms. Westra.
So where I'm kind of going with this is it's my biggest concern is with the desire to extend the licensing or to extend the hours of operations on the Friday and Saturday or the Fridays that there's going to be live entertainment. The reason being is because the notification process is a lot different for an entertainment license than a bar license. And I think for bringing in that much information into the neighborhood without a good kind of informational session, it kind of sneaks in more of a nightclub than what we were planning when we originally approved the liquor license for a restaurant only. I would fully expect that this applicant could come back in 6 months after being very successful with these Friday nights, to come back and have us review to remove those conditions on the hours for that.
Sí, entonces la preocupación que tiene Amy es que estas horas extendidas con el entretenimiento en vivo necesitarían de un proceso de notificación diferente al que se hizo cuando se hizo la licencia para el primer para el restaurante. Entonces, que puede parecer como que igual está intentando meterse un poco una licencia de un club nocturno sin seguir el procedimiento adecuado para eso. Entonces, la sugerencia sería que aprobar esta licencia con este horario nuevo y que en 6 meses, cuando se vea el éxito de esos viernes con entretenimiento en vivo, ustedes puedan venir y solicitar que se quiten esas restricciones a la licencia.
Bueno, la pregunta es, ¿van a aceptar las horas hasta las 2 de la mañana o cómo están aceptadas la licencia? Qué pena, es que se escucha muy entrecortado a veces.
So the question from the applicant is like, so then would it be possible to be open until 2 a.m.?
Yes, there are no restrictions on when you can be open and when, or other than the state statutes. This restriction would only be on having entertainment.
Sí, no habría restricción a cuando esté usted abierta, más allá de las que imponen las leyes del Estado. Esta restricción sería únicamente para lo del entretenimiento en vivo.
O sea que no habría manera ninguna de tener la licencia hasta las 2 de la mañana, solamente 2 viernes al mes.
So there would be no way to have like this license to be open until 2 a.m. twice on Friday, on 2 Fridays a month.
So there are 2 separate things. The first is when, actually I guess 3. One is when the establishment can be open and serving food. And there are no restrictions on that at all. You can do that 24 hours a day.
Entonces hay 3 aspectos que hay que matizar aquí. La primero es que cuando puede estar abierto el establecimiento sirviendo comida. Entonces, y eso lo puede hacer 24 horas al día, no hay ninguna restricción al respecto.
The second restriction is on when you can serve alcohol. Now, there are no conditions that the City of Madison has placed on your alcohol license. So you are limited there only by the state of Wisconsin statutes, which say you have to stop serving alcohol by 2 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and 2:30 a.m. Friday and Saturday.
Entonces, la otra cuestión es cuáles son las restricciones a servir alcohol. La ciudad de Madison no tiene ninguna condición al respecto, con lo cual es el estatuto, las leyes estatales las que dicen que del domingo a jueves tienen que dejar de servir alcohol a las 2 de la mañana y los sábados, viernes y sábados a las 3 de la mañana.
The third restriction is when you could exercise the entertainment license, when you could have the DJ. And what Ms. Westra has proposed is that restriction would be first, that it can only happen twice a month. Second, that it can only happen on Fridays. And third, that it must be done by 11 p.m.
Y la tercera restricción se refiere a la licencia de entretenimiento y cuando ustedes la pueden ejercer. Entonces, lo que está proponiendo Amy Westra es que esa licencia de entretenimiento solo se pueda ejercer 2 veces al mes, en viernes y hasta las 11 de la noche. Entonces, estas serían las 3 restricciones.
What questions do you have?
¿Qué preguntas tiene Ginette?
No, está bien, no pasa nada.
Perdón, no lo entendí bien, Ginette.
Digo que no, que está bien, no pasa nada.
Okay. No, it's fine.
Beautiful. All right, committee, you have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion of the motion? Jim, is anyone in the queue?
Nobody's in the queue.
All right. Hearing no discussion, is there any dissent? Hearing no dissent, the motion carries, and this item 36 is granted with conditions.
Okay. No hay nadie que se oponga, entonces se concede este asunto con condiciones. O sea, se aprueba la solicitud con condiciones, que son las que explicó Michael.
Yeneth, congratulations and buenas noches.
Enhorabuena, Gineth. Buenas noches.
All right. Do we have any further items that require Spanish interpretation, Jim?
We do not.
Awesome. Thanks a bunch, Julio. Hope you have a great night.
Thank you, Mike. Bye.
All right. We have an item that needs Mandarin interpretation. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Before we get to that one, I just want to say I do see Roger Bailey is in Zoom and has his hand up. Roger, I believe you're here for item 20, which was passed on the consent agenda. So if you want, you can take off. Otherwise, you're free to watch the meeting. So item number 41, public hearing new license, C&W Restaurant of Madison LLC, DBA Takumi Restaurant. I believe the applicant is here in person. So if you want to come up, and then while you're approaching, Owen, if I can have you raise your right hand, you affirm you'll accurately interpret Mandarin to English and English to Mandarin?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. So to the applicant there at the lectern, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed business?
Who is the applicant? 这个41号这个申请的人是谁呀？
Hello, hi, my name is Ron Chen. So I'm the 41 for a C&W restaurant Madison as Takumi Restaurant.
Okay. Ron, we have you put down as needing English to Mandarin and Mandarin to English interpreter. Do you need an interpreter? Either answer is fine.
I think, I don't know what kind of question you're asking, but mostly I think I'm okay.
Okay, so it is our practice as a committee that we want to be very sure that we understand you and that you understand us. So if someone is going to use interpretation, we will ask that they use the services of the interpreter.
Okay, then I just speak Mandarin then.
Mandarin?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So can you please introduce yourself and let us know what your proposed business is? Owen?
How about just when she cannot understand, she'll let me know, and then I'll.
So the problem there is if we have something where she thinks she understands but doesn't actually, we don't want to have any risk that there is something later where everybody here thought that it was clear, but it turned out it wasn't. And then she might accidentally have some infraction. And I wouldn't want her license to be endangered as a result of that.
Okay.
And so I'll repeat. Will you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed business?
那请就先介绍一下自己的这个餐厅。
我们有 Takumi 餐馆开了10几年了，在东边哈，然后我们现在要搬到另外一个地方，比较大的地方，然后要就是把酒牌要重新申请一下。
So we have this Takumi restaurant for more than 10 years, and it is being on the east side, and we want to move to a bigger place. That's why we need to reapply for the license.
Excellent. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Jim, is there anyone in the queue? Oh, Ms. Westra, then Alder Vervier.
Just a clarification, it's a relocation of Takumi from its current location to the much larger, newer location, even closer to the mall in the parking lot there. Will anything change with how you're running your business with the move?
他问的就是除了地方变了，还有没有其他的东西发生了改变？
没有，因为我们原来的地方也是有酒牌哈，现在就搬过去，也是做梳洗呀、铁板啊这样子，菜单基本也没什么变。
No, there is no other changes. We used to have the alcohol license before, and the menu is not going to change too.
Anything else, Amy? Okay, Mike?
Thank you. Just to further clarify, then for my benefit, you will not be keeping 2 restaurants on the east side, correct?
Yeah.
你会同时开着2个餐厅吗？
没有，关掉一家，然后搬到那边去。
No, the one we previously had will be closed.
And if I could ask the deputy city clerk at this point, Chair Donnelly, could we just interject so I understand, would this current license not be eligible for a transfer? Is that because of the type of license?
他们在讨论为什么这个酒牌换了位置之后就不可以继续用了。
之前旧的那个。
That's a question. That isn't a question for you, Ron. It's a question for the city clerk.
So the holder of that
Jim?
license is Takumi Inc. the requester, the applicant for this license is C&W Restaurant of Madison LLC. So it is two different entities. But the Takumi Inc. can certainly surrender their current license at the same time they issue this license. So I believe this is likely a regular Class B combination license. So C&W should not have to worry about whether or not they get a regular or a reserve license. But this would not be a transfer because it's two different entities.
Thank you. I'll wait for the interpreter.
他说的是因为现在它是变成了 CNW 这个公司，所以它的主体不同了，就要重新申请。
And then for the
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. And then for the applicant, just to again help me understand, it was absolutely your intent to change your corporate entity as you move locations. And
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
what again for the applicant, please? It was just to confirm, was it your intention to indeed change the corporate entity? As the clerk just stated, it's two different corporate entities. One that has the current license and one that's making application to this license.
是你主观想要改变这个主体的吗？就是改变了公司的这个名字啊之类的。
对，因为这个餐馆现在放在我先生的名下，我就想把它换一个名字。
所以以前是在你名下。
对，以前在我名下，现在我要换成我先生名下，所以我就换了一个公司，然后但是餐馆的名字还是没变。
The restaurant used to be under my name, and now I'm transferring that to my husband. That's why I'm changing the name. But the name of the restaurant will not be changed.
Thank you. And then I think my final question, out of curiosity, is your family still involved in a restaurant on West Gilman Street as well?
那你的家人还在开着别的餐厅，在这个 West 这个 Gorman Street 上面吗？这个路上吗？
没有。
没有。No.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, she said no.
No. Am I confusing you with someone else? Were you ever involved in a restaurant on West Gilman Street or State Street?
你是有一家餐厅在这个路上吗？
对，那个是在我的名下。
Yes, and it is under my name.
So you are still involved in a restaurant downtown. You're still the owner?
所以你还是其他就是这些路上餐厅的老板吗？
对。
Yes.
And to confirm, which restaurant is that?
是哪一家餐厅
Fugu, Fugu.
On the 400 block of West Gilman Street.
Yes.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure my memory was serving me correctly. I appreciate that. Thank you. And good luck with your move. Thank you, Chair.
Of course. Thank you, Alder Revere. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Jim, is there anyone in the queue?
Queue is clear.
Are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Committee, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Barshik?
I'll try this again. I move to grant.
Motion to grant. I see a second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Congratulations, Ron, and good luck at your new location.
提议通过了，恭喜。
Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, Jim, where do we go next?
We go
Item
to
2.
Item 2, and actually I have something to add for that. So because MPD indicated that they would have difficulty attending tonight because of an MPD awards ceremony, I placed the applicant Aurora Eggers on the operator subcommittee meeting at noon today. So Aurora did appear before that committee, and the committee voted to recommend to the full body of the LRC to give a recommendation to the Common Council to grant. So I indicated to Aurora that since this item was on both earlier today's agenda and this agenda, that we could then forward it to the Common Council meeting in June versus the other one we considered today, which was not on this agenda, which is going to next month's ALRC meeting to be referred to the July Common Council meeting. If I do not confuse everyone with that.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, good.
So this has been referred back to us by the ALRC Operators License Subcommittee with a recommendation to grant. Committee, what is your pleasure? Ms. Westra. Is that a motion to grant?
I second.
There a motion to grant and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries.
All right, that would then take us to item number 4, temporary Class B retail license concurrent with street use permit, Madison Festivals, Inc. for event Run Madtown. And we have a registrant is Beth Salinger.
All right. Do we have Beth here with us?
Do not see Beth in the attendees list. You can reach out to Beth by email. She's been pretty active.
All right. So while we wait for that, let's move on. And next up will be dispense. Item.
That would take us to item
37. Right?
Yes, that would take us to 37.
So item 37 is one of the two big ones. This is to grant all 18 plus and 21 plus entertainment licenses being renewed for the 2023-2024 licensing year with restrictions as previously amended, including any changes of corporate structure and amended conditions set forth in the report, and of course not including any licenses that were separated from this for explicit discussion. Committee, what is your pleasure? Ms. Westra.
Move to grant.
Motion to grant item 37. Is there a second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Revere. Any discussion? Alder Revere, did you recuse yourself from this item?
Indeed, as it relates to Madison Elks Lodge.
Just in case, could we get a different second?
That's why I was hesitating, but no one spoke up.
Ms. Farley.
Second.
All right. Motion from Ms. Westra, second from Ms. Farley to grant a whole bunch of 18 plus and 21 plus entertainment licenses. Is there any discussion of this motion? Hearing none, any dissent? No, you don't get to vote. All right, hearing none, motion carries. Item 37 is granted. And what have we got next? Item 39, public hearing, new license for East Wash Mobile at 3859 East Washington. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do not.
Committee, what's your pleasure? Ms. Westra.
This is the first time on our agenda.
Correct.
So move referral to the next meeting of the ALRC.
A motion to refer item 39. Is there a second? You can just give me 2 fingers up like that.
Second.
Second from Alder Revere. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 39 is referred to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Item 40, public hearing, new license for Self-Made Forever, for the 360 at 1 Dempsey Road. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do not.
This is their first time here. Ms. Westra.
Move referral to the next meeting of the ALRC.
A motion to refer. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second from Alder Revere. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 40 is referred to the next regularly scheduled ALRC meeting. Next up, item 42, Butterbird at 1134 Regent Street. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do. Shayna Papich.
Excellent.
Hello?
Shayna. Hi, Shayna. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed establishment?
Absolutely. My name is Shayna Papich, and my husband and I own the Harvey House. We have some wonderful team members that we wanted to grow with, and so we've decided to open a new place. And we loved the idea of being somewhat close to the Harvey House, while sort of changing the concept and also like vibe of the place. So it's a lot more casual, kind of family friendly, student friendly, and wanted to be on a through street. Looked at Regent Street and University Avenue and decided Regent Street would be a really fun place. I'm from Madison and really love the idea of kind of like revitalizing Regent a little bit. And so our concept is fried chicken, rotisserie chicken, a lot of to-go stuff. There's a lot of seats in there. There's some outdoor space, some lawn games, but to be able to be available to a lot of different kind of clientele.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant?
So on your application, you want to say you want to stay open till two in the morning?
Yeah, I think we want the opportunity to be able to do that. I think ideally it would be a little bit tighter in terms of timing, but we need to, the business of restaurants is very different than when we sort of started to think about Madison 5 years ago. So I think, whatever is going to make the business be a lasting, sustainable, financially stable business.
Thanks. And another question, I've been asking a lot of applicants this lately, but do you plan on selling a lot of food and dinner between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m.?
I think snacks. So, I think that we'll probably, ideally we would be open, from like 11 to whatever time makes the most sense at night. And I imagine we'll serve a lot more food during the day and then maybe more beverage and snacks at night. But we have like a lot of bar snacks. And I mean, we're definitely not looking to be like a college bar. I think that our pricing will be very different from, say Jordan's 10 or, the other businesses on the street. And I think that will be a nice complement to both help the neighborhood and, maybe somebody comes from Jordan's 10 and needs a snack after they've been drinking, or I'm not sure, but we'll sort of base that on what the business is like, but we're definitely not looking to be like a college bar.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Shayna, I'm sorry, I don't remember this. What building is 1134 Regent?
No worries. It's our same landlord. So it was a Budget Bikes. There's still a small Budget Bikes next door. It's got a barrel roof. It's an old brick building. It's like kind of it's in the same block as McDonald's. So we'll share a parking lot with them. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you for narrowing that down for me. Alder.
Sure.
Thank you. Oh, welcome back to the committee, Shayna. I think just one question for you, and it relates to a communication that we received from the alder who represents across the street from your proposed new location. Have you had the opportunity to see the written communication about your application that was sent to the committee by Alder Tag Evers?
I don't think I have, no.
With the committee's indulgence, I won't read the whole section of the memo, but I'll read in part and ask your reaction. It's very similar to the question that just asked and answered about your hours of operation. So he writes in part, I question the need for this business to be open to serve alcohol until 2 a.m. There are already a large number of liquor licenses on Regent Street among businesses whose principal business is selling alcohol. Given the expectation that this business will primarily serve food, 65%, and secondarily alcohol, 35%, I would suggest that it would be reasonable to stop alcohol sales at midnight. I wanted to ask you or give you the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally appreciate that, and I would love for that to be our hours. I mean, I would love our hours to be from 11 to 11, but I think that our food businesses have changed dramatically over the past 5 years, and in order for us to be sustainable financially, I think that we need some flexibility. And if we are finding that there is enough business that makes sense for us, then I think that we would love the option to be able to sell alcohol after midnight. I mean, it's, as I said, I mean, we're looking to be a very different addition to the neighborhood, similarly to Leopold's or, other lovely places in the area. And I'm not looking to be like a college bar, but I also am not looking to go out of business. And so I feel like if there is benefit to being open a little bit later, I would love to have that option.
Thank you for your response, and certainly best wishes for Butterbird. I look forward to it opening.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Westra.
Just a clarification, and I apologize if I missed this in the discussion earlier. What time do you plan to stop serving any and all food?
I mean, it would go through, if we were going to be serving alcohol, we would be serving food as well. Hello?
Ms. Westra turned her mic off, so I believe you've answered her question.
Okay. Sounds good.
Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Jim, are there any other registrants for this item? Jim?
Sorry, I didn't realize to turn my mic on. There are no other registrants, and there's no one in the queue.
All right, committee, what is your pleasure? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. I move to grant. However, I do have one more question for the applicant, if I may.
By all means.
Thank you. So Shane, I forgot to ask you one additional question. That relates to your outdoor patio. It's a little difficult to tell exactly from your application where the outdoor patio would be exactly. Could you explain the location of the patio and your proposed hours of operation for the patio?
Sure. So there was a sort of like a metal building that was plunked down in the back of the brick building. We actually have taken that off already, and there is some overhang. We wanted there to be some outdoor space for people to spend time, and there's also lawn games. I mean, I, as a mother, like wanted there to be a space where my kids run around, and also for college students to have fun playing whatever games are back there as well. And also for us to be able to sell it as an auxiliary space. It is right on the back of that building. So it's just on Charter Street. It will be fully enclosed. You actually won't be able to see it from the street. So there'll be a full brick wall around it. Plants inside, most of it will be covered. And then there'll be like a little bit of space that's uncovered. And then there'll also be like a movie screening area. So there'll be like a projector screen. So we can do like some movie screenings in the evenings as another programming option as well.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And in your application, your license premise description had the word backyard. So I should have known it was in the rear, but then from the diagram, I couldn't quite figure it out.
Thanks for asking.
And then as a follow-up, I know you have become quite experienced with the city zoning code as you were opening Harvey House. But have you had an opportunity to look at the relatively new rules around outdoor eating areas in our zoning code that we really liberalized during the pandemic?
Somewhat. I mean, I would love to look more at it. I've had some conversations with the city about that, but I would love to see more if there is available information.
So just as a friendly reminder, since your landlord obviously didn't have this use, head of restaurant use there previously, unlike a lot of the applicants we see at our meetings. So you would be required to apply with the planning department for a conditional use permit. However, it likely would not need to go to the plan commission if you will agree to certain supplemental regulations. And the key ones amongst the supplemental regulations are that the hours of operation outdoors would end at 9 p.m. and that there be no amplified sound permitted.
Okay.
And so I'm concerned about the latter, if you might be offering movies back there or anything like that. So first, maybe to take the easy one, did you ever plan to use the outdoor space past 9 p.m.?
I mean, we had thoughts of it, but if that's an issue, then absolutely. I did not realize that was something that we needed to go through. Thank you very much for that information.
You're welcome. And then you were hoping at times to also have some sort of amplification in the back as well.
No, not amplification. I think the most use that probably the outdoor space would get was, afternoons and evenings, and maybe some, on game days, of course. I imagine it being used.
Yeah. So all this means is that if you want to, again, use the patio past 9 p.m., you will have to appear before the Madison Plan Commission, which is
great.
Which isn't a huge burden, but simply I'd encourage you to apply sooner rather than later so that you can have all this in order. Obviously, you have plenty of time before the first football Saturday at Camp Randall. But just wanted to make sure that you realize that you will have to file another application with the city to use that outdoor patio and with the supplemental regulations. And now knowing what your intended use is, you will have to appear before a Madison Plan Commission meeting sometime in the next several weeks. Usually it's at least a month or two after you make application that you're on their agenda. I would plan for 60 days, so better to apply early rather than later.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's incredibly helpful information.
You're very welcome.
Mike, did I understand you right that in theory, the application can go before the plan commission, but if it meets certain conditions, it's likely not to require an appearance?
Correct. And that's the big modification that we made during the pandemic. It used to be every single solitary outdoor food and drink conditional use permit needed to go before the plan commission, and that's no longer the case. If
somebody does have to go before them, they're a lot less scary than we are.
I would say they're more formal than we are, but maybe by reputation, that's correct. So.
All right, maybe I should be more formal. Thanks. So, committee, what is your pleasure? Or Elder Verveer?
Yeah, I had confused things by moving to grant, but then also asking the follow-up question.
Okay. Do you have a motion to grant? Is that with any conditions?
No, I wasn't suggesting any.
Okay. I see a second from Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Elder Miazzi? Nope. Good stand up. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 42 is granted. Congratulations, Shayna, and have a good night.
Thank you very much.
All right. So I think next is item 45.
44.
44. Role play. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do. Sonia Tan, and she is registered, and also Beth from the item 3 is also now in the Zoom. Just so you.
Okay. We'll get back to that after we do some other items. Sonia, can you please?
Hi.
Sonia, can you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
We're getting echo.
Yeah.
We're hearing ourselves.
Okay. So, Sonia, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed business?
Sure. Hi, my name is Sonia, and my establishment is Roleplay. We are currently located at Garver Feed Mill. We are a board game cafe. We have about 300 plus board games in our library. We also have a street food inspired menu and an expensive bubble tea selection. We also regularly host board game social events such as Catan tournaments, chess night, and board game meetups. And our mission is to build and support a social community of board gamers and food enthusiasts. We are applying for a Class B beer license. Since we are offering an entertainment option, which is board games, we have had requests from our customers to serve beer. But beer will be a supplement to an experience of board games and great food. It's not the main event.
Excellent. Thank you. How long have you been open?
We moved to Garver Feed Mill last May, so we are open for a year.
Excellent. Let's see. Your application says 97% food, 1.5% alcohol, and 1.5% other. What is the other?
Board game events or any of our social events, we do sell tickets sometimes. So
wonderful. Sometimes
our events are paid and sometimes it's free.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What questions do you have for the applicant?
I will say Sonia submitted one of the cleanest, most organized applications I've seen in quite a while.
Thank you very much.
Well, of course, she's a board game fan. I mean, that's all about reading the instructions. Elder Miazzi, then Ms. Westra.
Just wondering, was there any community engagement with the community about the establishment?
Sorry, I can't hear you very well.
His question was, did you have any engagement with the community about this application?
Yes, we actually hosted information session at our space on May 9th.
How many people showed up to it?
0. Yeah, I was like all prepared to answer questions. But I did, follow up with all the necessary contacts that I have to for the alcohol application.
Beautiful. Ms. Westra.
So the only question I have is for one of our attorneys, being the fact that this is in the Garver feed mill property with existing liquor licenses, is there anything we need to take into account? I don't know if the previous restaurant that was there had a license, but they do have their own space with their own doors. So we don't get into a licensed premise kind of weird sharing thing where it's defined between the lounge and then Ian's. I think those are the only 2 other liquor licenses at Garver.
Assistant City Attorney Brist.
Well, the license that she's applying for should specify what her license covers. And I guess I would analogize this to a mall. A space in a mall is like a storefront, but it might not be exactly like that in Garver because of the building, but the license itself will specify where alcohol is to be sold. Okay. And it can't be removed from that place unless you're selling a 6-pack or something like that, if it's permitted. A carry out, for example, that would be a reason why you might carry beer out of there, but normally you would have to keep the beer in the licensed area.
And their licensed area would be their suite, which is the 115. Gamers per se who are there should not wander from a beer from their establishment through the store.
I would say shall
not.
Yes.
Should not.
The licensee should control that. The licensee should make sure that someone does not regularly walk from one establishment to another with a drink in their hand, a beer in their hand.
Or vice versa, from the Garver lounge into there.
Yes, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So, Sonia, it's something that might be confusing for your customers. They'll say, well, I'm allowed to have a beer out there, I'm allowed to have a beer in here, but at the boundary from your property to the rest, there's an invisible wall and alcohol shall not pass through that wall.
Yeah. So I understand what the concerns are. Right now, what we are seeing at our establishment, first of all, to address the question, we do have our own space, and it's located in the far side of Garver Feed Mill, and we do have like 2 doors. Yeah, we have our own restaurant space. And our plan is only to serve beer to customers who are dining in at our space. And I've spoke to our management about it, and our plan is actually to put stickers on the beer bottles that we are selling at Garver Feed Mill. I'm sorry, at Roleplay, so that it can only be consumed at the table while they are playing game. And we don't foresee them, bringing beer out of our space, because usually our customers are engrossed in, playing a game, and they'll just sit there and play the game.
I was going to ask to clarify, and I think you did, that it's not just when you sell food that somebody is going to have the opportunity to drink a beer, but it's also while they're playing a game.
Yes. So only dine in when they are sitting at a table. They can order a beer.
Oh, but can they have licensed premise covers the entire business or just that area?
Sorry, I don't understand your question because we do have our own like restaurant space, which is Suite 115 in Garver Feed Mill, and that is where we operate, and that is only where we will serve the beer.
Okay, I think that's clear.
Yeah, so we have 12 tables in our space, like within the boundary of our space.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assistant City Attorney Zelby.
Thank you. I just have a question about whether you are the only member of the LLC.
I am not the only member of the LLC, but I'm the only owner of Roleplay.
Because all members of the LLC need to be listed on the application.
Okay. Yeah, because we are actually planning to open another business, which is an esports place, and then an opportunity arose, and I bought over the IP of Roleplay from the previous owner. So that's how it all came to play.
Because they do a background check on each member of the LLC.
I see.
Sonia, who are the other members of Guild Esports LLC?
That's my husband, Jin Kun, and also my partner, Charles. But he's a minority partner. I will be able to submit their information for background check. Sorry, I wasn't, because I'm listed as the agent, so I just submitted my information.
It's fine. Just make sure to get that into the city clerk's office, please.
Sure. I'll do that tomorrow.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Verbeek.
Well, just a question to that. So with the later submission of additional members, because MPD would have to run a background check, would the committees, obviously a motion has not been made, my thought is either the committee would make a motion contingent upon passing the background check, or to pass it with Sonia as the sole member and for a change of officer to add the officers after. Although, as Sonia stated, there are current members of the LLC that are there already that don't have it. So that was mine, and the committee can take with it what they want.
Sure. My recommendation to the committee will be the first of the two things that Mr. Verbeek suggested. But Mr. Verbeek, I have a separate question for you.
Sure.
So I believe that trying to delve deeply into this while we're in meeting tonight would be challenging. Will you please, if there is a motion to grant this between now and the Common Council meeting, review the licensed premises for this and other properties that cover feed mill and make sure that there's no overlap in licensed premises?
Sure. If I recall correctly, that we were very thorough with Garver Events and Ian's when they applied, to be very specific about it. I have the license.
That's my recollection also, but given how thoroughly unpleasant it would be to try to sort out later if we do make a mistake, I'd like to maybe dot each I twice and cross each T a couple of times too.
Sure. Yeah, I do know that the Ian's states that they're Suite 121. And then Garver Events, which I think was the first one of all of them to get a license there. It talks about main dining room bar on the first floor that's overlooked by a small balcony on the mezzanine level, small mezzanine room. On the second level, use for private. Go ahead.
I don't think we need to get into all of it now, especially because I don't think it's a problem. Just want to make sure we do another review of it.
Yeah, I would say this applicant, there's 3 sentences on the description of premises, and all of them say suite 115 on them. So I think this applicant's very clearly stated that their premises is solely located in this one suite.
Excellent. Ms. Wester, I saw your hand up before. Do you have a question or a motion?
I have a motion. Move approval. Move to grant.
Your motion to grant from Ms. Wester. Is there a second?
And just with the condition that the LLC stuff gets added to the application and a background check has been successfully complete with no flags.
Excellent. Alder Miyagi, I assume that is a second.
Yeah, that's a second.
Excellent. So, committee, you've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Congratulations, Sonia. Sounds like a cool business.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, next up, item 45. Item 45 is Kettle Black Kitchen at 1835 Monroe Street. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
You do. My name is Brian Hamilton.
Excellent. Brian, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed business?
Sure. My name is Brian Hamilton. I think we've been over that. I actually am an existing business right now on Monroe Street with a I think it's Class C on-premise beer and wine license. That's been, I've had it since July of 2021. That's when we opened the dining room. And I would like to apply for a Class B because, I think I've proven to the neighborhood that I'm a good actor and I'm not trying to have, raves or anything there. It's kind of a nice little restaurant. There's not a lot of like action or noise. We don't have a music, a cabaret license or anything. So there's no DJs. And the neighborhood association was amenable to it. So here I am. Oh, sir, I don't know if I mentioned, I am seeking a Class B full liquor license for on-premise.
All right. So just for clarity for the committee, currently this business holds a Class B beer, Class C wine license with it appears no additional conditions. So the difference between that and this would be switching it to a full Class B combo liquor and beer, which would allow hard liquor as well as beer and wine. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeek, is there anyone in the queue?
There is no one in the queue.
Are there any? Ms. Westra.
I just want to throw a motion to move to approve.
All right, your motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Jim, are there any other registrants for this item?
There are no other registrants for this item.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 45 is granted. Congratulations, Brian.
Well, thank you very much.
Good night.
You too.
All right, next item 46, new license for Tricky Foods at 121 East Lakeside. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Therese Merkel is here and present, is registered and present.
Excellent. Therese, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed business?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Therese Merkel. I'm the owner of Tricky Foods, which is a cheese and charcuterie business in the Madison area. We've been in business for 3 years now, and we've been operating out of a shared commercial kitchen in Stoughton. We are now opening up our first storefront, which is on 121 East Lakeside Street. So we'll not only be moving our production kitchen there, but we will also have a small venue space. And so a place where people can enjoy their cheese and charcuterie boards and then also have wine and beer. So I'm applying for a Class B and Class C beer and wine license.
All right. Thank you very much. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Mr. Verbeck, is there anyone in the queue?
There is no one in the queue.
Are there any other registrants for this item?
There are no other registrants for this item.
Ms. Westra?
Move approval.
Your motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
I'll second. I'll second. I was hesitating because Assistant City Attorney Zilliby is seeking.
Yeah, I didn't trust my ability to remember, but not a second. So I was either going to let it get seconded or die, and then call on Jennifer. So we have a motion from Ms. Westra, a second from Alder Verveer to grant Assistant City Attorney Zilliby.
I just wanted to say that I have had this product, these charcuterie boxes and boards, and they're excellent. And I'm excited that she's opening a storefront so that more people can experience her product. And I also, in reading through her application, was very impressed with all the detail and all of the things she covered. And it would be nice to see more applications that are this thorough and professional. That's it.
And thank you so much. Jennifer, when I saw your hand go up, that is not what I anticipated. So,
I didn't know what to
congratulations, Trace.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
All right. So we've got a motion to grant and a second. Is there any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 46 is granted. Congratulations, Trace.
Thanks, everyone. I can't wait for y'all to see the space later this summer. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Next up, item 47, Badger Tavern at 1612 Seminole Highway. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Clayton Carlson is registered and present in Zoom.
Excellent. Clayton, can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your proposed establishment?
Yeah, my name's Clayton Carlson. Just purchasing the Badger Tavern from the owners that have it now. They've had several bars and taverns in town, and we're just looking to transfer ownership end of June with a full Class B.
Excellent. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Ms. Westra, then Assistant City Attorney Zilliby.
Let's let the city attorney go first.
Assistant City Attorney Zilliby.
Thank you. Again, my question's just on the application where it talks about members of the LLC. It looks like one of the members is crossed out. So I'm just curious, is he in fact a member of the LLC? Who are members of?
Yep. It's just me now. That'll just be a silent partner for investment, but no oversight and no decision making in the LLC.
But is he a member of the LLC?
No.
Okay.
Nope, not anymore.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Westra.
Clayton, you haven't taken over ownership or running of Badger Tavern as of yet?
Not yet, no.
And due to the recent incidents at Badger Tavern, as a business owner, how would you plan to combat those so they don't happen again?
We're actually going to talk with the Midtown Captain Friedman again about it and a little extra patrol. And then we also spoke about maybe just doing some private patrol with one of the security companies in town.
Assistant City Attorney Zellaby.
Sorry, I forgot to down my hand.
No worries. Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Ms. Westra.
Should be it. And Clayton, what's your experience in running establishments?
So we currently have 2 car wash businesses, one on the far east side of Madison and then one new one in Middleton. And I probably have, oh my gosh, almost 20 years experience with a lot of banquets and wedding venue, mixology, and beer serving.
Committee, what additional questions do you have for the applicant? Jim, is there anyone in the queue?
There is no one in the queue.
Are there any other registrants for this item?
There are no additional registrants for this item.
Ms. Westra. Unmute first.
I have a question for city staff. So question for Jim. What are there any current conditions on the existing liquor license in that spot?
It's a good question. Give me a second. There are no conditions on the current Badger Tavern license.
Alder Figueroa call.
Thank you. I just wanted to chime in. The applicant connected with me and I connected with the neighborhood association. The neighborhood association was in full support of this license. I realized it was before the incident that happened there, but before that incident, there hasn't been any complaints that I know of on this location. The other thing, I mean, I haven't gotten a report back from MPD on the investigation on this regard. So I mean, I'm still in support of giving them approving the license at this time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. We always love getting input from the alder. Ms. Westra.
Thank you.
I'd like to move approval.
Your motion to approve. Is there a second? Second from Alder Miadzi. Any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries. Item 47 is granted. Congratulations, Clayton.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Have a good night. Next up, item 48, new license application for K Pepper at 601 Junction Road.
That one was actually on the consent agenda to refer to next month's meeting.
I am pleasantly surprised that it's taken me this long to make a mistake. Okay.
We have two items left with registrants here. We have the item 3, the picnic beer license, and then item number 50, the separation one.
Okay. Let's do item 50 next. Do we have a registrant here for this item?
We do. Attorney Ron Trachtenberg is here.
Okay, so everyone, this is item 50. It is a separated liquor license renewal for Williamson Mini Mart at 1130 Williamson Street. And Attorney Trachtenberg, you are welcome to say something first if there's anything you'd like to say, and then I'll turn it over to the committee and our associated staff for any questions they have.
To refresh your recollection, recently there was a transfer of the liquor license agent for this entity. Since then, I have spoken with Attorney Zilvey. As my understanding was, the reason she separated out was to advise you that while there was not sufficient time to bring on a non-renewal hearing before the liquor license renewal deadline, it was her intention to bring a revocation procedure following the renewal of this license. With that, the action tonight, I assume, was going to be to refer this on for renewal. To bring the committee up to date, first of all, the court case against Mavi Song resulted in, as the city attorney is aware, of 3 misdemeanor violations, convictions arising out of using misuse of food stamps and public assistance. There was a healthy fine and court costs imposed, and all of that has been paid by Mr. Singh. Anna Pri, who's now the liquor license agent, has formed a new entity, Sunrise Gas LLC, and he is finishing up the purchase of the business from Mr. Mavi Singh, and he has made a liquor license application under the name of Sunrise Gas LLC. That application was filed with the city clerk. It would be our intent that if the license for MKS Petroleum, the present license holder, is renewed, that upon the approval of the license for Sunrise Gas LLC, that MKS Petroleum would be surrendering its license.
Gotcha.
We'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Cool. Thanks, Ron. Jennifer, you want first crack at this?
I mean, I don't really have anything to add other than that is what I said, that I didn't have time to do a non-renewal given the statutory restrictions. And so my intent was to file a revocation action on this, which I will be doing. And it'll play out however it plays out.
Of course. What action would you request from the committee at this time?
Well, you have to renew it, unfortunately. But I just wanted the committee to be aware that this was out there. And
thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. It's always good to know when these things are in the works. So, committee, do I hear a motion to grant or to renew item 50? Ms. Westra?
Yes.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Any discussion? Hearing none. Any dissent? Actually, well, this isn't dissent, but just for our newer members, the set of actions that we can take at renewal time is heavily limited by statute. And it is nowhere near as simple as just saying, no, never mind, we don't want to renew. We would have to do a full non-renewal proceeding, which is very similar to a revocation action. So, motion and a second, no dissent. So motion carries. Item 50 is Granted for renewal. All right, let's jump back up to the top. Have we got somebody here now for item 4, Jim?
Oh, and I missed Mr. Barashuk had his. Was it for?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, just a sort of a follow-up to item 50,
Yeah.
a procedural question.
By all means.
So what we're faced with now is whatever happens first, the surrender of MKS Petroleum's license or the revocation action.
That sounds right to me.
Okay. And it sounds like, I'm just guessing that the surrender is going to be a lot quicker and smoother, like if that one gets to us first.
That would be entirely possible. Assistant City Attorney Selby.
And I would say you have to vet the applicant and make sure that it's not just he's not acting as a straw party for the current owner.
Sure. I will, of course, not speak on behalf of the city attorney's office, but if I were in their position, I might well pursue revocation, knowing that doing so would keep the wheels rolling for the alt license to be turned in, so that the alt license holder didn't have to risk having a revocation on their record. But that is not for me to say. Any further questions or discussion on item 50? All right. Jumping up to item 4. Item 4 is a temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit for Madison Festivals, Inc. Event is May 27th and 28th in the 700 block of State Street. And the event is Run Madtown. You probably remember this is the one that came in late, was approved at the Common Council meeting last week with the condition that it had to get approved by us as well in order to be granted. Mr. Verbeek, do we have a registrant here for this item?
Yes, Beth Salinger is here and in Zoom. And register.
All right. Beth, you here with us?
I am. Good evening.
Excellent. So what happened?
So we are actually starting and finishing at Library Mall on the UW campus. And we had gone through campus catering for to be serving our beer on campus. And at the 11th hour, they came back and said that they could not, they didn't have enough staff to manage serving our beer. And so that the same day that I heard that, I followed up with Kelly Post, who has been my point person for street use permit, and submitted the permit to the alcohol licensing, Heather, and insurance, et cetera. So everything else had been in place long before. And unfortunately, due to what happened with the university, I sort of had to scramble, and I apologize because this is not the way we normally do business.
Has this ever happened before?
So I am new management to Run Madtown. It was recently acquired by myself. I understand that there were some issues in the past with the previous owner, but it was being managed also by a different entity. That has been resolved as well.
Cool. Thank you. Committee, what questions do you have for the applicant? Jim, is there anyone in the queue?
There's and Ms. Westra is now in the queue.
Are there any other registrants for this item?
There are not.
Ms. Westra?
Move approval.
There a motion to approve? Is there a second?
I second.
Second from Alder Verveer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4 is granted. Congratulations, Beth, and good luck this weekend with the event.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I promise this will not happen again.
Wonderful. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay. Next up, item 49. This is granting all Class A liquor, Class A beer, Class A cider, Class B beer, Class B combination liquor and beer, Class B liquor wine only, and Class C wine renewals of licenses for the 2023-2024 licensing year with restrictions as previously approved, and to include any change of corporate structure and amended conditions as set forth in the report. Deputy City Clerk Verbeck.
Yeah, I'll just add, oh my goodness, I did it again. All right, I'll just add that I believe we had 28 licenses that had not been renewed in this last licensing year. I think there are 2 or 3 in which the businesses are actually still in operation, but just failed to renew in time. I know 2 of those for sure. I have submitted applications and will be on the agenda next month for June. I think they've both been instructed that they could then get potentially the approval from the ALRC at the June meeting. Obviously, it would go before the council in July. They could always get their sign-offs done before that meeting and then essentially surrender their current licenses to themselves and then get a provisional license to operate before the final sign-off from the Common Council. And I think there's another one that potentially has missed the deadline to get on the June meeting, but could be in the July meeting. I'll just say it's Mod Pizza. It's not really like a small operation. It's more of a chain kind of thing. So there exists the potential for the city to grant a provisional while the application process plays out, since they're a current licensee, and if we don't believe that they'll turn into a nightclub suddenly, that's something that the city could afford them if we so choose. So there are those 3 applicants that we're looking at that missed the renewal, but we suspect that we'll see them very soon.
And what about the other 25?
I believe they're closures or just not wishing to sell alcohol anymore.
Okay. Sounds good. Minnie, what questions do you have for Mr. Verbeck? All right. What is your pleasure? Ms. Westrow.
Move approval.
Your motion to approve. I need a second, ideally not Alder Revere. Have somebody else help us out, please. Alder Miadzi, you want to get in on that action? Maybe Ms. Farley. Oh, Mr. Bruchak, how about you? You're there in the room.
I'd appreciate if my motions can be seconded. I don't think it would take that much time for us to address a motion that I make. But
seems fair.
But I will second this motion. Thank you.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Is there any dissent? Hearing none. Motion carries for item 49. We renew the licenses. Next up, election of Alcohol License Review Committee Chair. Ms. Westra, I will hand the gavel to you for this item.
Okay. So it is time to elect our chair. So I'm taking any nominations for chair from the floor.
Mr. Baruchuk?
I'll nominate Michael Donnelly.
I accept the nomination.
Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Seeing none, I'd like to move to vote for chair. Do we have any dissent? Seeing none?
Bark was on your end, right? Not one of the committee members.
Yes, that.
Okay.
Yogi does
Thinking
not.
that would be a little hard.
He doesn't appreciate it. It's your love of your cat he doesn't like. So
that's totally fair.
Seeing no dissent, Mr. Donnelly, you can take back chair for the next year.
Thank you for that and for the gavel back. I had something I was going to say and it's gone. Item 52, election of the ALRC vice chair. Do I hear any nominations for vice chair? Alder Mianzi.
I nominate Wester.
All right. Ms. Wester, do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Final time. Are there any further nominations for vice chair? Nominations are closed. We move to a vote. All in favor of continuing Ms. Wester's tenure as vice chair of the LRC? Or sorry, is there any dissent to re-electing Ms. Wester? No dissent, motion carries. Item 53, fill vacancy on the ALRC Operators License Subcommittee. And I remember what it is. It's that we've got a vacancy and
this is filling Fletcher's.
Your kid has awesome hair. We've got a vacancy and we didn't want to ask someone who wasn't here to fill it.
Actually, this was Alder Carter's seat. That's right. Alder Carter was on the committee, subcommittee.
I see. So, do we have anyone who is willing to serve on this committee? Or anyone who isn't experienced with it? The Operators License Subcommittee is able to review operators license applications, which provides two opportunities to those applicants. One is to have the meeting where they could get their operator's license when the meeting is not at the time when many people with operator's licenses have to work. The second purpose is to give them a more private venue in which to hold a meeting, or while the meetings are still open to the public, they don't generally have the same pull as a full ALRC meeting, thus affording the applicants an opportunity to talk about what is generally an unpleasant occurrence in their life in a less public stage. So, is anyone interested in stepping up to serve on that subcommittee?
I'll add that we meet every fourth Wednesday of every month at noon as needed. So far this year, we've only had to meet once, and that was today. It's an as needed basis. So we just ask that whoever is on, if they could normally hold the fourth Wednesday at noon for this meeting. And I'll usually let them know the week prior. Usually we have the deadline of the third Wednesday at noon is the deadline for operators to tell us that they want to appear before this meeting. So we get a week notice to let folks on the committee know whether or not we get to meet.
Awesome. Thank you for that additional detail, Jim. Anyone interested in serving? Ms. Westra.
If no one else wants to serve, I attended today as the third person, and I can hold that fourth Wednesday. My only stipulation is that Dr. Reese continues to chair the meetings.
Fair enough. Let's see. I don't think that we ever formalized the process of filling those slots. And given that technically every member of this committee is a member of the subcommittee, what Amy's basically doing is saying she'll make a good faith effort to be available at that time.
Yep.
So there's no formal action that we need to take on this item. Item 54, report of MPD. We don't have anyone from MPD here. Committee, is there anything you would like to discuss related to the report on recent calls for service? Ms. Westra.
One thing I would just like to ask the city attorney in this part is, I don't expect us, because there is no liquor license, to have anything regarding of Lush Lounge be brought forward to us. But can we get from the city attorney clarification of what the rules are around establishments acting with a bring your own BYOB presence?
Assistant City Attorney Zillaby.
Well, the only instance in where that can happen is if it is a private event. Obviously, it can't be on a premise that already has an alcohol license, but the event has to be private. There can be no sale or serving of alcohol by the person having the private event. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now.
Is there a bright line test for what determines whether an event is private?
I'd rather not go into that right now.
By all means.
Perhaps at the next meeting I can.
Excellent. I know I'd be very interested to hear whatever you're comfortable telling us next. Committee, any further discussion of item 54? All right, item 55, summary of licenses issued. Mr. Verbeek, is there anything to which you would like to draw our attention?
The only thing I'll add in addition to what I said about the renewals is we suspect we'll get 9 of the regular Class B combination liquor licenses back. One of those being one of the applicants that will appear before you next month. So there's the potential that they could surrender to themselves prior to that license expiring. So it could be as many as 9, as few as 8 back for those folks who are looking to get their license issued for the regular license that does not incur the $10,000 reserve fee. I do know that at least 2 or 3 folks have indicated to me that they're interested in doing that. So maybe we'll get a line of people sitting on lawn chairs outside of our door like we have in the past, but we'll see.
Excellent. Thank you. Alder Figueroa called and Ms. Westra.
Thank you. I just want to bring up this issue once again. I mean, I have brought it up directly to you, but item 9 and 19 in today's agenda do not belong to District 10. So I don't know how to get that fixed. I don't know if the alders that are associated to those licenses got communication that those were in the agenda tonight. But if we can correct that, I would really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alder, and thank you, Jim. Ms. Westra.
One question I just have on this list, and maybe Jim, you covered it, and it's My brain's starting to turn off because we're at the end. So on the list, I see that we have 3 with the no renewal received. So those are licenses that we've granted. They've been in limbo because of remaining issues. So will these just go away?
That's correct. They'll have to apply again to get back in. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to be very clear about the licensee, like the applicants, licensees who have been granted by council, but not yet issued, that they still do need to submit renewal paperwork in order to carry the right to that granting from one licensing year to the next. It's very weird because they don't pay any license fees. Everyone obviously submits renewal paperwork without cost. It doesn't cost anything to submit renewal paperwork, provided you get it in on time with the deadlines. And then we do not issue them any invoices for any renewal publication fee or anything like that if they've not actually been issued their license yet. But I make it very clear, and these folks who are in this situation that have not been issued yet, I handle all these directly. I'm the one in our office who gets these ones to make sure that I'm very explicit in communicating this to them, that they still need to get us this information, whether they've actually been issued the license or not. I will say I did follow up with all the folks I was assigned to. They obviously got the initial letter. I sent them an email when that first letter went out. I sent them an email as we approached the April 15th deadline. And I sent them another one prior to the April 28th deadline, in which that's the final date we can accept those. And had not heard anything back from either of these folks on this list.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Biddy, what further questions do you have for Mr. Burbank? All right, so moving on to our final item, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjournment.
A motion to adjourn from Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alder Verveer. All in favor of adjournment, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Wow, Bucky agrees. Opposed have the same privilege. Motion carries. ALRC is adjourned at 7:56 p.m. Congratulations on a expeditious renewal meeting, and I hope everybody has a great night.